David, what would be your advice to this White House as these Russian maneuvers get underway?
Well, the interesting part about these maneuvers is the Russian forces are an offensive force. They're used for offensive tactics. And they're going to be in Belarus, which is an ally of Russia, but which is on the border with Poland, Lithuania, and Latvia. Each of those countries is very worried about Russian aggression. So this is, in essence, a provocation. Either Russia is trying to say, at some point in the future, we may do offensive tactics in these countries, or it's trying to send the signal that it could do that in order to try and warn the U.S. and Europe and make them worry. Neither is really a good signal for the U.S., so that's why it's a provocation. What we need to do is respond in kind with pressure on Russia. The sanctions are an great example. You know, Congress just passed sanctions overwhelmingly supported in the House and the Senate. In this era, there are very few things that Republicans and Democrats agree on. They agree on these sanctions, and they're great because they're going to hit Russia where it really hurts, on their defense sector, on their intelligence sector, and on their energy sector. So we need to stand behind these sanctions, and we need to get Europe to put in place sanctions that are similar to squeeze Russia economically.
Rebecca, the maneuvers are also taking place near Ukraine, and we all know what's happened there. The Russians took Crimea. They're meddling in eastern Ukraine. Should there be a response from the U.S. directly involving Ukraine?
Well, again, I don't think we should go tit for tat for Russia. I do think it's interesting that there's so many now former Obama allies now arguing that the United States needs to get tough with Russia, when the whole reason we're in this mess is because the Obama administration capitulated again and again to Russia. What I do think the United States needs to do, again, we need to conduct, mind our own business, mind it hard, as I've been saying, and that means nuclear war games with NATO. It means reassuring our allies. It means expanding missile defense. It means protecting our space assets. It means, doing the things that we need to do, even if the Russians object to that. That's what we need to do. And certainly we need to especially pay close attention to the Baltic states. They're worried, they're concerned, and that's because of being neglected and being undermined by the Obama administration again and again. So there's a lot of work cut out for the Trump administration.
I want to turn your attention to a related topic. The Pentagon confirming today that North Korea's latest intercontinental ballistic missile test was the longest and highest flight in its history. David, what about the North Korean threat? How would you respond?
There are no really good options on North Korea. This is a really vexing situation. North Korea has accelerated its weapons program, its missile program, and its nuclear program in a way that most people did not expect. And we're catching up now on what the response should be. Certainly, military options have to be on the table. Vice President Pence has recently made that clear. That is appropriate. We need to contain North Korea. And ultimately, though, we have to try and find a diplomatic solution and pressure North Korea into a diplomatic solution. That means working with China, which has some leverage and influence in North Korea, but so far hasn't been willing to use it.
Right. Rebecca, it seems like for all the talk coming out of China, they have